Baldur's dead. The Aesir have tried reversing this, but Loki and his children won't allow it. Baldur's dead, and Ragnarok is coming. Woven throughout all of Norse myth is this concept of Ragnarok, the end of the gods. It's prophesied about, characters try to prevent it, and eventually it becomes inevitable. But it doesn't happen all at once. It's a process, the final act in the Age of Gods. The prelude to Ragnarok begins with a 3-year-long, harsh winter. The snow will be constant, the sun will be unable to shine, and there will be no escape. This meteorological disaster, pun very much intended, would have been a chilling one for the Nordic people. Harsh winters like this would have been devastating, killing crops and making travel very dangerous. The memory and trauma of these events would have been passed down through the generations, and would definitely have informed how people saw this stage in Ragnarok. In the Prose Edda, we're told about 3 more winters that precede this, winters that are marked with human conflict and battles. This whole period of time sees the breaking of bonds between families and allies. The very foundations of human society and family units are broken apart through violence and even incest. It's a time described as Age of Axes, Age of Swords, Shields split, Wind Age, Wolf Age, until the world falls into ruin. In almost every society, the sun is a symbol of life, and so in many apocalypse myths, solar destruction plays a central part in the narrative. That's the same with Ragnarok. After 3 years of being unable to shine in winter, the sun is destroyed. Throughout Norse mythology, the sun and moon are being chased by the children of the great wolf Fenrir. This ends with Skull swallowing the sun, followed by Hati Hordvindsen swallowing the moon, leaving a gap in the cosmos when even the stars go dark. Light, heat, and time are all gone, with very little of human society remaining. So we turn to the gods. Following the destruction of the sun, the world shakes, loosening the bonds of the gods' greatest foes. 3 roosters crow, one each in the domains of the gods, the giants, and hell. The Midgard serpent Jormungr comes from the sea, followed from the east by a ship of dead man's nails, Naglfar. This is piloted by a giant named Hrym, who leads the Frost Giants. Fenrir breaks free from the bonds which the gods placed him in. He opens his jaw, which stretches to the sky. At the same time, the sky opens, and Surt, with a flaming sword, comes through, leading the Fire Giants. Finally, Loki comes, leading the troops of Hell. All gather on the great battlefield Vigrid. The gods go to council, and then to war. This is the part of Ragnarok that most people think about, the great battle at Vigrid. Countless gods, giants, monsters, fallen heroes from Folkvagnar and Valhalla all gathered together to fight. No one's winning this. There is no escape. This is war for its own sake. But with all the rivalries and showdowns set aside, this is a battle where every unknown encounter, every clash of sword and shield could make for an epic all its own. Of course, the focus, as you might imagine, is on the Aesir. Odin leads the charge and immediately faces off against Fenrir. Thor entangles himself with the Midgard serpent. Both of these battles have been long foretold, and the participants know very well the outcome, but they fight anyway. Frey fights and loses to Surt, as he is alarmed. Loki and Heimdall, the watchman of the gods, match blades, and both fall to each other. And Tyr, the one-handed god, fights a mysterious wolf, Garm. Garm is only mentioned in regards to this battle, and is described as the worst of all monsters, but a good consensus of scholars believe him to just be another name for Fenrir. It would make sense. I mean, why is the greatest of all monsters only mentioned once? And Tyr and Fenrir have a past. But whatever the case may be, Tyr falls in battle. Likewise, Odin is swallowed by Fenrir, with Thor unable to help. Another one of his children, Vidar, steps forward to avenge the Allfather. Placing one foot at the base of Fenrir's mouth, he lifts with all his strength against the upper jaw to rip apart the maw of the great wolf. Thor does win out against the serpent, but only after a long and arduous battle. Bringing down his hammer one last time, he kills the beast. He turns, takes 9 steps, and falls dead, poisoned from his many wounds in the battle. As the battle claims more and more lives, Surt raises his flaming sword and sends fire all over Yggdrasil, the World Tree. With the gods dead, enemies loosed, man's world destroyed, and the sun eaten, everything burns. The sun goes black. Earth falls into the sea. The bright stars vanish from the heavens. Steam surges up, and the fire rages. Heat reaches high against heaven itself. From ice to blood to fire, Ragnarok ends. But that's not the end of Norse myth itself. Come back tomorrow, and we'll look at a world reborn.